I'm Samantha McLean from Elite Agent Magazine, and we're now officially over the halfway point in our 12-week Transform Challenge for our 6 agents from different markets and different locations in Australia. Our Super 6 have already gained a wealth of knowledge, and if you've missed any of the lessons so far, you can catch up and learn along with them at eliteagent.com.au/transform. This week, the focus of the coaching session from our head coach, Claudio Encina, is all about phone technique, nailing those prospecting calls and your OFI callbacks. There are a number of practical tips through this that can really set you apart from other agents, including tonality, energy, and how to make the most impact in a short space of time. Here are some of the highlights.
Okay guys, so let's start another session this week with phone scripts and technique. One thing that I learned earlier on in my career when I had my first coach, who was Bob Boland, he taught me, if you don't know what to say, you don't deserve the business. So I learned really, in the early my career that it was really powerful to know some scripts, but you've got to be authentic and you've got to be yourself. But it did lay a foundation to some of the conversations that I was going to have with certain people. And today I was just going to share with you maybe like a bit of a warm call script and then maybe a bit of a cold call script. I don't know if some of you do cold calling or not. I like to call it more smart calling because you're ringing with a purpose rather than, a cold call. And today as I see teams of, agents, you might be single agents, but there are teams growing and they've got sales creators on board, they've got buyer managers, they've got an admin person, etc. And a lot of these sales creators that do a lot of, cold calling or door knocking to look for new and future business, because one point is that you need to be growing your database all the time. So the skills and the technique that I'm going to share with you today hopefully will give you a little bit of an insight to help you, gain more market appraisals, understand your client needs, etc. But also I want you to sound a little bit different than most other agents. And I think this is where agents struggle in their businesses because they don't know what to say. And when you don't know what to say, that's the fear of getting on the phone. That's where it stops people. Like, I'm going to make prospecting calls today, but I don't know really what I'm going to say. So then it's like, it's too hard, and they give up. So first thing I want to touch upon is how do you get the client's attention? You've got, if you're doing a cold call or you're doing a call back from the weekend, I've always said you've got to have like a 30-second impact message, okay? And your 30-second impact message is the first bit that you need to look at. Like, what's your point? Like, when you make that phone call, people want to know, get to the point. And the questions that you're going to be asking, I always say 2 things. You want your client to stop and think, okay? Because when you get your client to stop and think, or the prospect on the phone, it allows you to buy more time on the phone. And as you buy more time on the phone, we've all heard you build rapport, you build some sort of connection with them, you earn their respect, and hopefully a element of trust may come from that phone call as the more minutes go on the phone. But the second point that you want to look at is get to the point, but also be creative. So for example, being creative, wouldn't mind getting an idea on the price based on that recent sale around that corner. And I'll share it with you a script that I'll do in a moment with you, how we put all this together. So number 1, get to the point. Number 2, be creative. Here's a really big one. Master execution, okay? Delivery has to be strong. You have to be unique and as natural as possible. This is where it lets a lot of agents down, is the delivery. So I might say something with a happy face, and then I can say something with a sad face, and there is a difference. You can hear it in my body language, even though I'm on a phone. I don't know how you make your calls at the moment, but I did a study tour in the US about 15 years ago, and I went to a couple of offices. They've all got like stand-up desks. Like you walk in there, literally, your desks are up here, you've got to stand up. They don't have any where you sit down. One of the things that they really push over there is when you stand up, you should make your calls. You think about Ben, you're putting a deal together, for example, and I'm using Ben because he's right near me. But for example, Ben, and you get an offer on a property and it's like, oh my God, I'm 5,000 away from putting this deal together. Do you sort of tend to stand up and walk around and start talking to that client on the phone? Yeah, you get excited and you move up. Okay, that's what you should be doing with all your phone calls. Not just that call that comes in. Do your calls always standing up? Callback phone script. Here's what I hear from a lot of agents. You think about it. The average person today on a Saturday who's a qualified buyer would see somewhere between 3 to 4 properties each Saturday. Most agents in general would make a phone call on a Monday, and I ask each agent every time, tell me a little bit about what you say when you ring, right? When you make a call back, okay? Yes, there are some agents that make calls on a Saturday. I recommend you do your calls on a Saturday. But here's the thing, this is what the typical, hi Jamie, thanks for coming through number 23 Smith Street in Smithville on Saturday. Look, just want to get some feedback for our vendor. Just want to see, your thoughts on that property if there's any interest. That is the general script of most agents when they do a callback. Does it sound familiar? Okay. Why don't you not stand out? Why not be a little bit different? So number one, when you're making your open callbacks, your OFI calls on that Monday or Saturday afternoon, which I think is a great idea, do your callbacks on a Saturday afternoon, you get a lot more hit rates, okay? People take the time and listen to you. Start with start your script a little bit like this, and I'll put this up for you guys and I'll email it to you, the script that I have. Start off with, hey Ben, it was great meeting you on Saturday between 10 and 10:30 at number 23 Smith Street in Balmain. Okay? Always put the time, because our minds automatically go, what did we do between 10 and 10:30 on Saturday? Oh right, I remember that one, Ben, that was the cute terrace that you've got in Smith Street in Balmain, correct? Next question I want you to ask is not, is there any interest in that property? Want to get some feedback from my vendor, like most agents do. So, Ben, just curious to know, just what exactly attracted you to this property? When you ask that, okay, it's like, I'm thinking, Ben, we're after a 2-bedroom terrace in the Balmain area, not far from the ferry service, because, I work for Macquarie Bank and I really want to be nice and close, okay? Then the next questions that you want to be asking, and there's like 15 questions, but what I don't want you to do is feel like you're interrogating people either. When you got question after question, and real estate school, I was always taught, ask questions and you'll get the answers, but just ask some, I would say to you, just choose 3 to 4 really good key questions, which will get your clients to stop and think. So another question that I found works really well is, Melinda, tell me, what was the last property that you really liked and you had your heart set on and you may have missed out on? Oh, we saw a gorgeous home just at the end of last year down at, and our finances weren't ready, we weren't, at the time, but look, that was exactly what we were looking for. Now, decisions are made on emotions, okay, as we know, and the other thing is, you really start to get a little bit to know about that person and what they're looking for. Right, I remember that one, Ben. That was a nice 2-bedroom terrace in Balmain, renovated, beautifully stylish. I remember that granite kitchen that was in there. So you're looking, that's exactly what we're looking for. If you can find us something like that, Ben, we're going to buy something. That's exactly what we're looking for. So a good question like that. So choose 2 or 3 questions. The other thing that I found works really effectively is, you hear agents go, do you need to sell before you buy? I think unless you have a level of rapport or connection with that person, they're going to put their defences up, because most agents go, so Ben, tell me, do you need to sell before you buy? Or, ask a couple so tell me, Ben, what suburb are you guys moving from? Oh, we're moving from, say for example, Ashfield. Fantastic. All of a sudden I go, Ben, Munro Smith, Ashfield, easy to look up on IP data. Maybe I'll look it up while I'm actually talking to him on the phone and find out where he's living in Ashfield. So you're moving from Ashfield. Okay, and how long have you guys been living there for? Oh, we've been here for X, Y, Z. Tell me, if you saw the right property, would you need maybe an extended settlement to get your place sold? Oh, no, we've sold already, we're ready to go. Oh, I hadn't thought about that, maybe that could help us. Well look, some vendors are flexible with a longer settlement, but some aren't, but we'll see what we can do if we do find the right property for you, okay? So in a roundabout way, okay, some of these questions that I'm going to give you, and there's a whole lot more, I want you to cherry pick 3 to 4 good ones. Don't sound like you're interrogating someone, be natural, okay, as much as you can. Just curious to know what attracted you to this property. Melinda, when you came through on Saturday, I saw you between 10 and 10:30. Put the specific time that you saw them, and it will automatically take them to what they saw at that time frame. Because if they saw 4 properties, you hear this, remind me which one was that. Oh, that was the one that had this and that and whatever else, okay? The next one is a cold call script into the BDA. So when you're dominating in your area and you're sending a call to action letter that we spoke about today, okay, your increase of getting a market appraisal goes 30 to 40% higher. That's why you're seeing a lot of teams today hiring sales creators into their team. So lead generators basically. Why? Because they know there's an effect of getting an appraisal. It's about building a database, getting more face-to-face with people, etc. Okay? And that appraisal will eventually become, over time, be nurtured into a possible listing. So once you send, let me give you an example of you send a call to action letter, the one that I maybe gave you today that I showed you, 30% visual. You follow it up 2 days after with a phone call, okay? And the phone call should just go a little bit like this. It'd just be like, hey Melinda, it's Claudio from ABC Real Estate here. Look, you may have received a letter from us just in the past few days. We had a really good response to that letter. And look, I'm just reaching out to some of your neighbours because some of them are curious to know what their home is worth. And I just thought, as a courtesy, I am going to be in this area this week and next week. Would you like to get a fresh market update on your home while I'm visiting some of your neighbours? Okay? Another thing I want you to understand is words move people as well. Okay? Keeping it natural. Okay, keeping it soft. Don't be too rigid. Don't be too hard. Tonality. Do you hear my tonality? Okay? One thing I learned is record yourself. Okay, when you practice this, how you come across. Like you might go, oh my God, I wouldn't even list with myself and get an appraisal, right? Or you might go, okay, that's really good. Your appraisal rate goes up by 30% every time you follow up behind something, either from a door knock or from a call. Okay? What do most agents do when they approach an expired? An expired script sounds a bit like this for most agents. You know, hi Ben, just seeing how your property is going at 23 Smith Street here in Balmain. Just want to know, you know, you're getting any closer to sale because look, I'm working with some buyers. Okay? Now, expireds are starting to come up. But remember I said get people to stop and think? I'll do one really quickly. Hi Ben, I'm just updating my records, you know, being the area specialist for the area. Just wanted to know if you're getting any closer to a sale. Well, we've got a couple of offers the agent's talking to at the moment. Oh, okay, fair enough. Tell me, where were you planning on moving to once you did sell? Oh, we want to get up to the Central Coast. Okay, how soon are you looking to be there? Well, basically as soon as we get sold. Okay, that makes sense. So you're moving to the Central Coast once you get sold, and what's the price you're hoping to achieve? I noticed you got it on the market for 1.25 million. You know, what would be the figure that would get you moved up to the Central Coast? Oh, look, if we got somewhere around the 1.2 to 1.25, we're out of here. Fantastic. What do you believe may have stopped your home from selling? Well, the market. Oh, the market, okay. Don't go into about the market, it's good or bad, just keep moving along. Well, look, Ben, I have done some research in the Balmain area, and I've identified there are 4 reasons why homes aren't selling today in around Balmain. I just wonder if you're open to the opportunity of maybe us sitting down and identifying which one of those 4 reasons could stop you, which one of those reasons has stopped your home from selling today. So you're getting to stop and think. I'll tell you right now, I've done that with agents on a live sort of going out there in the trenches, door knocked and use that script on expireds. 9 times out of 10, the vendor or the prospective vendor would say, so what are the 4 reasons? Can you tell me now? Because it's got them sort of thinking. And if you really think about it, it's the 4 Ps, right? Price, process, promotion, and presentation. So it's really literally just going to the 4 Ps. So let's review and analyse your promotion, let's review and analyse your price, let's review and analyse, you know, the presentation of your home and the process, the way you decide to sell your home. Was it private treaty? Was it auction? Whatever it may be. But that's once you get inside. So are you starting to hear that the technique and the questions that we use are really about getting clients to stop and think? So a couple of ideas that I want you to take away from today. Change your callback script immediately. Don't sound like every other agent, number 1. Number 2, try doing your callbacks on a Saturday afternoon. The amount of people that respond, okay, and talk to you on a Saturday afternoon goes up by half. I look at open for inspection books, I normally see, you know, LM, which means left message, right? Left message, left message, left message. And the only time they're going to call you back unless they're interested in the property, right? So try Saturday afternoon, you probably connect and they're probably a little bit surprised and go, oh, Melinda, yeah, I met you this morning at XYZ, okay? Doing your cold calling, if you do it or don't do it, that's okay. But there are more agents out there in this marketplace today who are building teams, who are dominating to really get some of these, build databases and get the cold calling and getting sales creators into their business. So if you're not making the call, I remember Bob Boland used to say very clear to me, if you're not doing it, someone else is, okay? The specific numbers that you want to know, 7% is words, 38% is tone, 55% is body language. That came from the University of UCLA. I can give you the stats from that, from a report. So need to understand, stand up when you're making your phone calls, okay guys? Think about your tonality, happy face or sad face, right? So you've got to make sure when you come on there, it's showtime. It's like, I've just had with my partner, I just had a blue on the phone. And I'm now going to make 50 calls. I'm going to go, oh, hi Ben, this is Claudio calling from ABC Real Estate. Rather than bring the joy, energy. I heard Tom Panos the other day, he was doing a talk at the same time we were doing a talk, and he was talking about, guys, 50% is energy about winning the listing. I've got to tell you, 50% is energy bringing it to the phone. If I hear someone who's down and low and, I'm like thinking, do I really want to see this person? Versus like, hey Ben, it's Claudio calling here at ABC Real Estate. I'll bring the joy to the phone, okay? Have fun, focus on outcomes, and don't get attached to the outcome. I see too many people going, oh, they said this to me, or they take it really personally and whatever else, and they get stuck with it. Just really learn to quickly move on. Don't get attached to whatever you've been hit with, okay? If it's rejection, you know what? We get rejection in our lives all the time. So quickly learn to move on as quickly as possible, okay? So are we getting some good ideas around phone scripts and technique and skill? How we can be a little bit different to your competition around our callbacks, and really think about when you're doing a letter or something out to your marketplace, following it up, 30% you'll increase your market appraisal rate from following something up.
Some great tips there from Claudio, and in the coaching links below, once again, you'll find out how to contact Claudio for his list of questions, and you may even be able to talk him into sharing his call to action letter. For more tips from Claudio, email claudio@claudioencina.com. Next up, we have Fiona Blaney from Real Plus to talk about how to harmoniously generate leads between sales and property management. Yes, it is possible with her one fantastic strategy. It's called The Club, but more on that in the next video. Remember, if you have any questions for our coaches or our Super Six, tweet us at EliteAgentMag, #transform. See you soon.